everyone, welcome to this video. Today's topic is going to be rest, recovery, and self-care. And these are 3 things that I think are very important to know about, especially going into the new year, and especially if you're starting off with your fitness journey or you just haven't really taken some time to learn about these different things because they're very crucial to fitness and fitness progress. So I'm going to get right into it and explain these 3 things and what I recommend that you sort of take on in the coming new year and adapt into your fitness routine. So the first thing I want to talk about is rest. Rest is something so important that oftentimes gets overlooked. I know especially with me when I first got into fitness, and if you've seen my fitness journey video, you kind of know a little bit about this, but I got so excited to get into working out that I never rested, and this is super detrimental. There's something called overtraining, which if you're not familiar with it, it's when, and I actually have a definition here that I'll read. It says, overtraining occurs when a person experiences stress and physical trauma from exercise faster than their body can repair the damage. So you're basically working out so much that your muscles don't have adequate time to recover, and therefore you're not making progress. And furthermore, you probably will actually be acquiring some injuries or maybe even gaining weight because your body is not able to recover from all of the stress you put it under. So resting is super important. That's why I never recommend working out 7 days a week unless you really know what you're doing and you have like a very specific split and you're very well educated and you kind of know how to manage that. But for beginners especially, you need to rest because your body's just going to be trying to adapt to all of this new stress that you're putting on it for the first time. And so it's especially important as a beginner not to overtrain. So one important thing to know is that when you do take a rest day, and I definitely recommend this after a really hard day like legs, or if you do full body workouts, you definitely want to be resting in between days that you're working the same muscle. So you never want to have an upper body day followed by an upper body day because you're going to be working muscles that have still not recovered. So let's say you have 2 upper body days, you should at least be taking a 24-hour break in between the 2 and ideally more than 48 hours. But on these rest days, you can do a number of things. Sitting completely sedentary isn't actually the best idea. You kind of want to keep the blood flowing and pumping to those muscles. So that's why we have what are called active recovery days. And these days are just kind of like a light cardio, kind of get yourself moving day where you're just not sitting sedentary to keep that blood flow going and keep those muscles in the recovery process. So this could be something low or moderate intensity, just like a walk around the neighborhood, or you could be doing some yoga, or maybe going on a hike, or swimming a couple laps, something like that, something that you enjoy doing, even like shooting basketball hoops. Shooting basketball, who says that? I shoot hoops all the time for active recovery because it's something I enjoy, and it just kind of keeps my body moving, because if you just go from working your muscles out completely one day to sitting completely still the other, your muscles are going to get super tight and they're going to take a lot more time to recover. And then it'll also be harder to properly work them again once you decide to train them again. So rest days are very important. I myself overtrained a lot at the beginning, like I said, when I first started working out, and I experienced all the symptoms of overtraining, which can range from chronic fatigue. I was always tired. Like I just couldn't get the motivation to get up and do anything, but I still did. I went to the gym and it was my body telling me I needed to slow down. But I gained a few pounds, so even though I was doing like intense cardio every day and working out every single day, I was gaining weight because my body was under stress and my cortisol levels were up. And when your body stresses out and freaks out like that, it's going to hold on to what it can. Because I was putting my body in a situation where it was trying to burn more than it had to burn. So that's a super important thing to remember. And also when you're overtraining, you're definitely putting yourself at risk of injury. And that is something so crucial to remember, because if your muscles aren't having adequate time and nutrition to recover, then they're not going to be strong, they're not going to be healthy, and you can definitely tear something. So repeated trauma to the muscle without giving it time to recover and repair can definitely lead to injury. And also along with proper muscle recovery is you want to have the right nutrition. A lot of people, especially myself, when they first start working out, are sore for a very long time, and this is not only a result of just, beginning to work out and this is something new for your muscles, but a lot of times people don't have the proper nutrition. And when I first started working out, I was actually vegan, so I was not getting anywhere near the right amount of protein I needed. And that's not to say that vegans can't, that you just have to be very mindful of getting enough protein. And there's protein, vegan protein powder, vegetarian protein powder, all these different sources of protein. You just need to make sure you're getting enough. And a general rule of thumb to follow is have 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight that you have. So if you're 150 pounds, you would want to have 150 grams of protein per day. Even on days when you're not training, because food is a source of fuel, it's a source of recovery. And so your body needs food to recover. So even on days when you're not in the gym working out hard, your body's still in recovery mode, so you need that protein. And protein is the building blocks of muscles, amino acids, so you need that protein. And I'll get a little bit more into amino acids and other ways to recover nutritionally later, but just remember that on your rest days you should be eating a lot and you should be eating protein. So I've kind of already segued from rest into recovery, which I was going to try to separate, but anyway, they're really integrated, so I might as well just go with the flow. So I'm going to talk about BCAAs, and that's something I personally use. It's a supplement that I choose to incorporate into my fitness routine that's by no means required, but I feel that it personally helps me with recovery. And you can either take these in pill form or you can take them in a dissolvable powder form that you just mix with liquid. And I don't have them with me to show you, but I do take Labrada, and that is a powder, like I said, BCAA supplement form. And I just mix that with water. It's flavored. It's like strawberry kiwi. And I really recommend that brand because I actually did a lot of research before I chose one, and I went into Vitamin Shop and I talked with the staff there, and I just decided that it fit my personal preferences the best. It's made from natural sources and fermented tea rather than like animal byproducts. And anyway, it's one of the more natural options, and I really like it. And I usually just take a serving of that either while I'm working out, or if I'm really, really sore post-workout and I feel like I'm not recovering quickly enough, I will drink that on my off days. But BCAAs are super important. So I'm not going to get a whole lot into the nitty-gritty of what they are, but it stands for branched chain amino acids, and your muscles are built on amino acids. So every time you work out and you're putting stress on your muscle, you're creating little tears in your muscle, which is good. That means that when you rebuild that muscle, you're building new muscle fibers, you're growing your muscles. But in order to rebuild those muscle fibers and repair them, you need branched chain amino acids. So it's super important. And BCAAs are a good source of protein because they have all of the essential amino acids included. I'm trying to keep it short, like I just want to go off and rant about protein, but it's a really complex subject, so maybe I'll save that for another video, but I definitely recommend aminos. Another thing to keep in mind in terms of recovery and nutrition is you want to really take care of your peri-workout nutrition, which means the nutrition that you are intaking around your workout. So before your workout, you want a very rich carb source. I personally like fruit just because it's a simple, quick carbohydrate, and I feel like it really gives me that instant burst of energy that I need when I'm working out. And then post-workout, you want carbs to help recover, and you also want protein. You want a good protein source. So my favorite post-workout thing to have is just a protein shake, and I have protein powder. I have my plant-based protein powder. I really recommend Orgain if you're looking for a plant-based one, but also Whey is a great option. So now moving on to self-care. Going back to my example of me overtraining when I first started working out, one thing I didn't have a lot of in my workout routine was balance, and balance is super important to have. If you're just training your muscles all the time without taking time to properly recover or find balance with your mentality, it's going to be stressful not only on your body but on your mind. So one thing that I have going forth for me this coming year that I want to try to work on is incorporating a lot more yoga and meditation. Yoga is, I think sometimes it really gets underestimated, but it can be very challenging depending on how far you want to take it. I find it's really good for my active recovery days or on days when I'm supposed to train but I just feel so sore that I know it's not right for me to go back in the gym and put my body under more stress. So I really like yoga because it has that active component. It still works on strength, it works on balance, and it's really good for your wellness and for your mentality. It's just a really relaxing form of exercise. But at the same time, it really does challenge you both mentally and physically. So I think having that mental component in your workouts is really important. It's really important to take a step back sometimes from that go, go, go mentality that a lot of times we have when we approach fitness, and also realize that we can connect with our bodies in a more tranquil. So my camera died, but I believe I was last talking about yoga and meditation. So I'm going to move on from that and talk a little bit about some other self-care things such as foam rolling and stretching. So if you're not familiar with foam rolling, I think we're all pretty familiar with the importance of stretching, but I'll get back to that later. If you're not familiar with foam rolling, it's a technique of self-myofascial release, which is basically like you're performing a massage on yourself using a tool. In this case, that tool is a foam roller, and sometimes, like my one at school, is a lot more evil than this, and it has a bunch of spikes everywhere, but basically all you need is something like this in order to perform it. So I'm not going to get into exactly how to do it, but I'll definitely leave some links in the description box that will send you to a more professional resource that might tell you exactly how to do it. Just because I don't feel necessarily 100% qualified to explain that in depth, and also it would just take a lot of time. So basically, foam rolling stretches the muscle fibers, relieves tightness, and allows for better muscle activation. And so when you're foam rolling and you're basically kind of using your body weight on this device and rolling back and forth, you are stretching out your fibrous connective tissues and or your fascia. And it's kind of like if you have a knot and someone gives you a massage and you're loosening up those fibers and you're allowing them to better be activated and utilized during your workout. So it's kind of similar to stretching in the sense that it's a good way to help prevent injury from your muscles. It's a good way to help you warm up and make sure that you're recruiting all the right muscle fibers when you're working out. So for example, if you wanted to target your glutes one day, I always foam roll before I do a glute day because I want to make sure that those muscles aren't tight and they're ready to activate. If your muscles are tight, like let's say I wanted to work my glutes and I did a bunch of lunges, some of my muscles that aren't tight, such as my quads, would probably take over on those movements and I wouldn't be firing the muscles that I want to fire in my glutes. So instead, I'd be working more of my quads and I would be improperly targeting my glutes. So it's a really good way to make sure that you're activating the right muscle groups, stretching out those muscle fibers, preparing for a faster and better recovery, and also preventing injury. And when you allow yourself to loosen up those muscle fibers and create a greater range of motion with your movements, so for example, if I'm really tight and I'm doing a bicep curl, I might only have this range of motion. Whereas if I foam roll or I stretch, I'm able to go all the way down, full extension and full contraction on my motion, making sure that I work the entire muscle belly rather than just a concentrated portion, if you get what I'm saying. And a lot of people ask, like, when's the best time to stretch or foam roll? The honest answer is both before and after your workout because it's a really good way to warm you up. You know, you can do some dynamic stretches with the foam roller or just stretching in general, and it's good injury prevention and, like I said, muscle activation, but it's also important to do afterwards to try to make sure that you have a better and quicker recovery because after you work out, inevitably your muscles are going to be tight. It's a good way to loosen up your muscles and make sure that you're not as sore the next day and that you don't take as long of a break in between your muscles recovering and when you're able to work out again. If you had to choose one, I would definitely recommend foam rolling before you work out or stretching before you work out because like I said, I think injury prevention is super important and you want to make sure you get the best possible workout in and you're working as much of the muscle as you possibly can and that you're working it in the right way. But personally, what I like to do is foam roll before my workout and then I'll foam roll if I'm sore during my recovery days after that workout. So if I find that my legs have been sore for a really long time and they're not recovering as quickly as I would like, that's when I get in a foam rolling session and I roll them out. And also, like I said, stretching is super important. Make sure that you warm up and then you stretch your muscles either before your workout or after your workout. And pretty much every day, if you're just sitting and watching TV and you have nothing to do, stretch a little. And if you don't have a foam roller, that's fine. You can use like a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball. There are a bunch of different ways to roll out your muscles. So yeah, definitely look into some alternatives or just purchase like an inexpensive foam roller. I've seen them for as low as maybe like $12. You can look at Walmart, on Amazon, but it's definitely an investment worthwhile. So some other ways to take care of yourself on your off days specifically are sauna therapy, hot tub therapy, taking a hot bath with Epsom salts. That's really good for your joints and for muscle recovery. And if you have the means to, getting a massage. And I mean, I'm not made of money either. I'm a poor recent graduate from college. I don't have the means to go and get a massage every time I want one. But it's a really important investment to make, especially if you're regularly lifting heavy weights or if you're doing bodybuilding or any kind of serious fitness regimen. It's really important to just kind of reset your muscles every once in a while and make sure that, like I said, you're properly able to work all of them. Tight muscles for an extended period of time can really interfere with your fitness progress. It can be uncomfortable, just like it can help contribute to injury, and you don't want that. So make sure to make the investment in a good massage every once in a while. It's really important to treat yourself to stuff like that and take care of yourself to make sure that you're just well balanced overall. And like I said, the sauna and the hot tub and baths, they're things that are pretty easily accessible to most people. They're just a really good way to keep your blood flow going on your off days, to maybe sweat out some toxins a little bit, detoxify, and they're super relaxing and a really good way to loosen up the muscles and help with your recovery. So I recommend all of those things. Alright, so that's about it. I realized this was super rambly and I didn't give it as much structure as I hoped I would in this video, but I hope that you learned something new about rest, recovery, and self-care, and that you can take some of these ideas and apply them to your fitness routine in this upcoming year, especially because I know a lot of people are going to be just starting out their fitness routines, or they have some really big goals or resolutions revolving around fitness. I just want to make sure that everyone has a pretty good basis and understanding of how to best approach their fitness routine, because I know I didn't when I first started, and it led to a whole slew of problems. So yeah, I really hope you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below. I'm a personal trainer, but there are definitely experts out there who know a lot more than me, so I will link as many resources below as I can. And thank you, that's about it. I hope to see you guys in my next video.